Something I really don't like about my Audi S4 is that there is no remote start. I've been told that it has to do with laws in Germany, but in America we're generally used to having this feature, especially on cars in that price range, kind of more luxury vehicles. You're not really stuck without it. There are different solutions out there, and one I'm testing out today is from a company called 12 Volt Solutions, which offers a completely plug-and-play kit. Everything's contained in this box. To be upfront, I did install a very similar kit from this same company on my brother's Acura MDX. It was slightly more involved process-wise. This seems much simpler, and I think it's just because that was an older vehicle and there was just a little bit more to it. This is very, very straightforward. You don't really have to like rip apart your steering column or anything like that. And also I'm told there is no stage 2 or dealer programming required. This is just supposed to be all self-contained. You plug it in, you do a couple of simple steps, and it just works. So we'll see how much easier this is and what it takes to install it on that car, and if I'll be happy with it. We're gonna get started with installation, and the stuff you really need is a screwdriver, a flathead, a 10mm socket with an extension, and a pair of dikes just to kind of clean up the cable ties, as well as your secondary remote. You will remove the battery from this and it'll go in a special box. So first we gotta pop this little cubby open, and in here we're gonna have our BCM, which is this black box right here. Depending on your model and year and kind of options, you may have other stuff in here. So now to remove the BCM and get it out of the way, there's a little tab up here. You might need a screwdriver. That little part just needed to be pushed forward and then it unclicked. And then see, I don't have a bolt back there, and I don't see what maybe it's just missing. I don't know, maybe somebody forgot to put it back in. Maybe somebody worked on it before. And then see, this is another clip back here, but all you do is pull up, forward, and pull it out. It's just here, I'll show you. It's just like this mechanism. So as soon as you push it forward and tilt it, it'll pop right out. So flip the BCM over so that you can work on it. My cables are a little tight. So all these wiring harnesses here will match up with your existing plugs on the BCM. So let's tackle our first one. This is the VS1 plug. There's a little pin you gotta push. Just wiggle it out, and there we go. The harness is released. So now you need the female end of this, which is nicely labeled as VS2 right here. And essentially, how does this go? Yep, like that. You would plug that back in. There we go. Now we're gonna go on to the next connector, push down, and then pull the purple piece up. Take this connection, make sure it's keyed right, maybe that way. Yep, that's the correct keying. So then we take VS6, that's the back end of the plug, and we pop that in. Boom. We're basically piggybacking and bypassing all the factory connections, and it'll go into this computer here. Same deal, push down and pop it out. Take our other side, and you kind of want to keep your harness from tangling too much here. This is a good time to make sure you're not doing anything silly with your harness, like turning it into a knot. Take this guy, feed him into the right clip here. We take its other end. VS4 goes right in there. Looks good. I think VS7 is this guy here. So you want to push with your finger. You can use a little bit of a pry tool, maybe better use a plastic one like the one they included to help you get this thing out. They can be pretty snug. So we plug this in here to the one labeled VS7. Yep, there goes the clip. We take the VS7 in here and plug it into our harness right here. There it goes into the BCM. Popped right in. Now we need to transfer our remote into this box. So first you push the two buttons, you slide your key out, you push the two buttons again. It might be easier with your fingernails around here, but there's the battery. So if you ever need to replace it, that's how you do it. And then to reassemble our fob, it's kind of the reverse process. You push it in, push the buttons in, it comes in, you take your key. Where the hell does it go? Yeah, there it is. There we go. Key's reassembled, but now doesn't do anything. So then we take our box and we put the key in the box. So pop it open with a screwdriver, and there's the magic pad. And this green cable goes to it. So there we go. So now we have to program the module for our vehicle, and in this case, we need to find the MS1 cable and also the button on the computer. You're gonna hold in the button and you're gonna plug in the cable, and you're gonna keep holding the button until the lights flash red. There we go, that's what we want. And now you can plug in the blue connector and you should be good with hooking up the module. Now, it's not fully programmed yet. We still have to do a couple of more steps. So now I need my other key. I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna start the ignition, but I'm not actually starting the engine. All right, from inside the car, I'm gonna hit the ignition button. So the next part is a two-person job, and you might be able to jerry-rig something, but essentially you want somebody to start the car for you, start the engine while holding the brake, and you will press the button again to program the module. You'll wait for the light to come on here, and then the person will let go of the brake. Once that's done, the module should be programmed. So let go of the brake. Now push the brake again. So now we're gonna push the button. Now let go of the brake. And in theory, the module should now be programmed. So with the module installed, let's test this thing out. And I did find initially that it's not just you going click, 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 and then it starts. You can't go that fast. So what I found you have to do is 1, 2, 3, and then it'll start. You see that last blink that it does? And now you gotta give it a second. There we go. And then you can't actually turn it off. Pretty excited. The system does seem to work pretty well. I like that it's integrating the factory remote. You don't have to get a secondary remote. So the trick now is to clean everything up. And they don't really talk too much about how to get things back into place in the instructions, but I don't even know if we really need the cable ties in this situation that they included, the little zip ties. I'm not sure it's really needed because everything gets kind of compacted under here as this thing is put back on its perches. So I'm not sure it really even makes sense. Like the factory stuff doesn't really have zip ties in here either. So I think we can probably just wiggle it into place. This guy, if you remember, it's got to go forward and back so that it sits on its perch. And then you got to get the little clip to latch again. Yep, mine's latched. Now, if you have a 10mm nut that you took off, you can put it back on here. I do think the body shop guys probably forgot after my car got rear-ended. They probably just lost that little nut. But the clips hold it on very well. I don't see this going anywhere. I'm just gonna tuck the computer and the key under the BCM. I don't think there's a reason for me to drill any holes and like mount them. I think they'll be nice and snug under there. I think it's plenty of room under there and things will be nice and snug. I just don't want them rattling around. Actually, this might be worth zip tying. So there we go, guys, nice and easy. You might have some other stuff to put in here. On my car, I do not. So guys, we got the kit installed and it is pretty cool. I thought it was a very easy process and overall the functionality is exactly what I wanted. I'm able to use my factory remote at factory remote distances. I'm able to start and stop the car at my leisure and able to get into it and drive off. And the kit does have an option to add an app, and I think there's also a long range remote that you can get. I am not really interested in any of that kind of stuff. I'm really primarily interested in having it built into my key fob. I know some of you guys may want the app, especially if your car is parked a little further away and maybe you're in a cold climate where that really matters. For me, I just like the AC to turn on as I'm walking up to the car. It's really all I need, and I get to hear the car start, which is a part of the fun, at least for me. Now, Some negatives of the kit, I do think that you should be able to turn the car on a little quicker. You know, it requires 3 very distinct key presses. Now, I did get to drive around a bit and test the feature out, and I think it's not that big of an issue. Even kind of after a few hours of not thinking about it, I was able to start the car pretty easily. Other than that, you know, the instructions were really clear. My car was a little bit different than the instructions, but it wasn't too bad. The programming steps for this product are really simple. Like they promised, there was no going to the dealer. It's just a few steps that you have to do. A second person does help quite a bit. I think you could probably figure out how to do it on your own, but you might struggle a little more with it. So definitely grab a buddy if you can. And overall, I really like that the product was so plug and play, and the fact that the BMC is in the back of the Audi makes all the difference. You're really able to get in there without tearing apart any steering columns, worrying about any moving components. It was a much simpler job than the one on my brother's Acura that I mentioned before. It is a little bit on the pricier side. You know, you might think, is it really worth the remote start? But for me, it is a quality of life thing. It's just something that was missing from a very nice vehicle, and it's kind of basic these days. So anyhow, guys, I highly recommend this 12-volt solutions product. No Amazon link or anything today. I don't think they sell this stuff on Amazon, but I will link to the gear I used to produce the video. And if you want to support the channel, if you click through and purchase anything at all on Amazon, I will get a small credit that allows me to run this channel. And I hope if you've enjoyed the video, you do subscribe, you click like, and leave me a nice comment. And I want to see you again really soon.